In daily life, every word that leaves your mouth is like a chip placed on the betting table. One wrong move, a poorly timed comment, or an impulsive action can cost you dearly. Your reputation, your opportunities, even the respect people have for you. And do you know what's worse? Sometimes you don't even realize the damage until it's too late. But don't come at me with the excuse of blaming chance. Mistakes happen, sure, but most of them stem from your own failures. A distraction, a weakness. And in the game of life, weakness is like blood in the water. It attracts sharks. That's why today, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you act like a true strategist, quieter, more cautious, and smarter. This way, you learn when to keep your mouth shut, avoid unnecessary moves, and always play it safe. Let's get straight to the point. Contain your emotions to contain silence. Silence is like a razor, and like any razor, it must be handled with care. Controlling your emotions is the first step. Do you know why? Because in the heat of emotion, whether sadness, anger, or enthusiasm, is when you expose yourself the most. That's when you open your mouth and give away gold to the wrong people. And let me warn you, the more you talk, the more vulnerable you become. The wrong ears can turn your words into weapons against you. Here's a truth few dare to admit. Those who can harm you the most are often the ones closest to you. Friends, relatives, people you think you know, but who, at the right moment, might use your trust as currency. What should you do? Simple. Don't trust too much. Don't share your plans. Use silence as your fortress and emotions as the enemy to be defeated. And if you want to stay focused, here's a tip I've learned the hard way. Emotions come from obsessive thoughts. The more you keep ruminating on something in your mind, the more of a hostage you become to that feeling. So the solution is to replace it. Angry, sad, or anxious? Get busy, work, train. Do whatever it takes to take that thought out of the spotlight of your attention. Because in the end, whoever controls their mind controls their life. And when you have a plan, keep it to yourself. Instead of spending energy talking about it, spend that energy executing it. Those who act in silence not only advance faster, but also avoid envious eyes and treacherous hands. That is the true way to maintain power and respect. Avoid situations where you talk too much. Deep down, everyone knows the situations where they lose control. So, sit down and analyze your behavior. Think about the times you spoke without thinking and later regretted it. What were the moments when you said too much? Once you identify these patterns, you'll be closer to controlling them. For example, some people talk too much when they're drunk. Others open up in the company of certain individuals. Some lose their filter when they're nervous. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to avoiding the same traps. If you know you tend to talk too much when you're at a bar with friends, avoid that situation. Say you can't go or that you're not in the mood. Don't put yourself in places where you know you'll make the same mistake. Controlling your speech starts with controlling your emotions. I've told this to several people I know, and I'll repeat it. Your emotions are born from the thoughts you nurture. If you keep replaying an idea or situation in your mind, you'll end up being carried away. So, while you analyze the moments when you talk too much, pay attention to what you were feeling at the time. Identifying the thought that triggered the emotion is the key to breaking the pattern. But here's an important point. Ignoring the problem is not the solution. From time to time, step into those situations and observe your behavior. Test your control. Gradually reduce the habit of talking too much, and over time, you'll master it completely. The goal is simple. Train your self-control to the point where you no longer need to avoid anything because you already have absolute control over your words and actions. And then, my friend, no one will be able to use you against yourself. Be careful not to drink too much and lose control. Speaking of drinks, bars, and alcohol, this is one of the most treacherous traps for those who can't hold their tongue. The effects of alcohol don't choose victims. It can catch anyone off guard. And what does it do? Simple. It lowers your defenses, scrambles your senses, and unleashes your emotions without a filter. It's like it pulls your saddest or happiest memories and throws them back at you, out of control. The result? An emotional storm that leaves you vulnerable and unaware of what you're revealing. And if you think this only happens when someone goes overboard, think again. Sometimes just getting close to that limit is enough for you to start losing control. At that moment, you're already compromised. Your senses dull, your tongue loosens, and before you know it, you might share information that, even seemingly harmless, could harm you. And believe me, in the real world, it's often the seemingly innocent words where the danger lies. My advice? Know your limit and respect it. Better yet, avoid situations where alcohol could put you at risk. Losing control is the same as losing your advantage. And in this game, no one wants to be the easy target. Respond specifically. So far, we've talked about avoiding saying things that could compromise you. But now, let's take it up a notch. The next two tactics aren't just about staying silent. They're about deceiving and confusing whoever is pressing you. In other words, these are tools to protect yourself while disarming the person you're talking to. I've lived a lot on the streets and know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me give you a practical example. Instead of answering yes or no, you say something like, "I use all colors. What did you do here?" You neither confirmed nor denied anything. You simply diverted the question to neutral ground. Now, suppose the person insists, "But do you really like the color blue?" You can respond with something like, "Well, my room is blue," or "My car has blue details." What did you do this time? You gave an answer that suggests an affinity, but without making a commitment. The person feels like they've learned something, but in reality, remains in the dark. This is the key, answering vaguely without guarantees while keeping the conversation under control. When you master this technique, no one can extract information from you that you don't want to share. This isn't just a strategy, it's a form of self-defense. In the world we live in, protecting what you know and who you are is a matter of survival. Imagine this. There are people who at some point in your life will want to know more about you than they should. They'll insist, pressure you, shadow your every move, trying to extract information they shouldn't have. Of course, silence is always an option, but what about when silence isn't enough? When the insistence is so persistent that you know if you don't act, you'll end up revealing something you shouldn't? This is where lying becomes your ally. Say something false, create a distraction, make the person believe in false information, something that steers them off your path. Think of lying as a fake map you hand over to someone trying to steal the real one. While they follow the wrong direction, you move forward smoothly, undisturbed. So, What do? You draw a completely different map, a fake map, and let the person steal it, thinking it's the real one. You create the perfect illusion, letting the other side believe they're one step ahead while you move forward calmly toward your goals. And if they find out later that it was all a lie, well, by then it'll be too late. You'll already be ahead, so far ahead that it'll be impossible for them to catch up or harm you. Do you now see how lying, when used intelligently, can be a powerful weapon, not to deceive for the sake of deceiving, but to protect yourself, to ensure your plans and dreams remain intact? In the end, those who don't understand the importance of silence or strategy end up being just a pawn in someone else's game. I hope you've enjoyed these tips for staying quiet and protecting yourself. If you did, check out other videos on this channel about the power of silence and the art of controlling information. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. It helps me a lot and it costs you nothing. Thank you for your attention and see you next time.